This
All of you, can
conference
you,
will now be recorded.
uh, all of you, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Today,
Yes,
we are discussing on the introduction part of clinical research, and we discussed how drug discovery is done. And first, that like new molecule will be identified, then there will be target identification, then hit will be generated. Then from the hit, lead will be identified. Lead means those hit, uh, like out of many hits, the one which will bind to the target. Then lead generation, then lead optimization. Lead optimization means how a particular compound can be made in the form of a drug with improved bioavailability, absorption, solubility, and all have to be improved so that uh, it will be a good drug with very good efficacy and reduced toxicity or adverse effect profile. Then we have once excuse me, once we generate the lead optimization is done, then again we have to go for preclinical studies. Preclinical studies means we are using the sorry we are using the particular compound in we are going to start to use that compound in animals. That is preclinical study. Preclinical means before we are going to use in human beings, we have to test in animals. That is preclinical studies. And in preclinical studies, one major study is the toxicity studies. There is acute toxicity study, then chronic toxicity studies, subacute toxicity studies. So these toxicity studies preliminarily done in animals. So when we go for uh, preclinical studies in animals, we have to get the clearance from the Institutional Animal Ethics Committee. So where like in most of the institute, in majority of the institute where a lot of preclinical studies are done, they'll be having animal ethics committee on of their own. For example, we have our college is having a pharmacology department is having an animal in ethics committee of our own. Similarly, wherever studies are done on animals, they will have their own animal ethics committee, or they have to get um, approval from any other organization which is having the animal ethics committee. So before we are starting preclinical study or a study, any study in animals, we need to get approval from the institutional animal ethics committee. So we have to submit certain forms will be there, then some information regarding our particular compound, then any previous study reports are there, all those things we have to, and what is the procedure we are going to do, what is the protocol design, all those information we need to submit to the institutional animal ethics committee, and we need to get the approval. And if our protocol is uh, satisfactory, or if our protocol is complying with all the guidelines that has been issued to on how to do the study in animals, if the protocol is adhering to the guidelines, and they will give the approval, and we can start the study on animals. So here then in India we have the Committee for the Purpose of Control and Supervision of Experiments on Animals guidelines. We have a guideline called as CPC SCA. So this has to be followed in our country. Then so that is preclinical study. So before initiating study in animals, we need to get approval from the Animal Ethics Committee. So in preclinical study, one major area where we study is the toxicology study. So there is something called as acute toxicity testing. So acute toxicity setting is why it is done is it is to determine the effect of a single dose on any particular animal species. So acute toxicity studies is done in using single dose in any in a particular animal species, and we have to always remember that acute toxicity testing is for just 14 days. We are testing the animal, we are giving the dose to the animal, and we are checking it for 14 days. So, so it has to be done in two different animal species. It can two different animal species, one rodent and one non-rodent. Then the at different dose levels, the study can be done. So a single dose will be given, and the animal will be observed for 14 days. Then another dose will be given, and again the animal will be another animal will be used, and it will be done, and it will be observed for 14 days. So a single dose is given, and basically a single dose is given, and the animal will be observed for 14 days. Then we will try with another dose in another animal, and the observation period will be 14 days. So in acute toxicity testing, the observation period is always 14 days. Then when like a particular dose is given, and again after 14 days, like meanwhile we'll be checking, we'll be recording all the mortalities, like how many animals got died, then morphological studies, what all changes in the tissue, biochemical, pathological, histological, all these changes will be investigated. After 14 days, the animal will be sacrificed, and all these changes will be recorded. The mortality will be recorded, and all these morphological, biochemical, pathological, histological, all these changes in the dead animals are investigated. Initially, this acute toxicity testing was done in order to find out the LD50. Lethal dose 50. LD50 means the amount of any substance given all at once causes death of 50% of the test animals. So if we are using 10 animals, what is a particular amount or dose of a substance that is given? When given, half of the animals are dead. That is called as LD50. This LD50 determination was one of the major steps in all preclinical or all toxicity studies. But nowadays, this LD50 determination is in this method is not that recommended. So LD50, you have to remember, means LD50. It is a dose. LD50 means lethal dose 50. It means that whatever, like a particular dose is given, and at which dose, when given, almost half of the animals are dead. At what particular dose, when given all at once, the half of the animals are dead. That is called as LD50. So LD50 determination is important in acute toxicity testing. Then since determination of LD50 results in the death of almost half of the animals, nowadays it is not recommended because a large number of animals are sacrificed, and mortality ratio, since it is high. So because of all these limitations, we have some other modified methods to identify the LD50. So these other methods are, there are fixed dose procedure, then acute toxic category ATC method, and up and down method, UDP method. So these are the three methods, three modified methods, because it has been found that like determination of LD50 by the other method, by the usual method, will be resulting in the death of more than 50% of the animals. More mortality rate is there, more animals are sacrificed. So nowadays the determination of LD50 is being done by some other methods like fixed dose procedure, FDP, acute toxic category method, and up and down method, UDP method. Normally, the acute toxicity testing is done for 14 days, and it will be a particular dose will be given, single dose will be given, and the animal will be observed for 14 days. Then then the animal will be sacrificed, and again histological, morphological, pathological changes are examined or recorded. Next, one of the modified method is the FDP method, fixed dose procedure. So from the name we can understand a fixed dose is given. Like for example, 550, 500, up to 2000 milligram per kilogram. A fixed dose is given to the animal, and the animal is observed for a specified period. So that is fixed dose procedure. Then in ATC method is considered as a sequential procedure. So here 3 animals of the same gender are used in each step. Then, so here only 4 pre-identified starting dose will be used. So this pre-identified starting dose is selected from some globally harmonized classification system. So that is ATC method. So in fixed dose procedure, in the first method, a fixed dose levels of 550, 500, 2000 milligram per kilogram is given in the experimental animal, and the animal is observed for a specified period. And in ATC method, again, four pre-identified starting doses will be used, and this pre-identified starting dose they will select from the globally harmonized classification system, that is acute toxic category method. Then there is another method called as the UDP testing approach. So this is considered as the most recommended by the regulatory agencies. The UDP screening method is one of the method that is being recommended by the various regulatory agencies. Why? Because in the UDP method, the mortality or the mortality rate is less. So in here, single animals are dosed sequentially at 48 hours interval. So an animal will be given a particular dose, then it will be observed for a particular period, then again a 48-hour interval is given. Then again the animal is given the dose. So here the dose limit is 2000 milligram per kilogram. Maximum of 2000 milligram per kilogram only is given. Then after giving after the first dose is given and after observing the animal for 48 hours, if the animal survives, then again a higher dose is given. So like that the doses increase. So up to that, the test will be done under the same animal. So first a single dose will be given, then the animal will be observed for 48 hours. Then if the animal survives, again a higher dose will be given to the same animal. Or maybe sometimes twice the original dose will be given to the same animal. And if the animal is dead, then the testing will be continued in another animal at a lower dose. So the advantage with this UDP testing approach is that the mortality rate is less. Then we have acute toxicity testing for inhalation. So acute toxicity, these acute toxicity testing, what we discussed before, is given either orally or parenterally. So for such preparation, the above methods were used, like the fixed dose procedure or acute toxic category, up and down UDP method, or even the other LD50 method. All those were used in oral route. Now, when we want to find out for some preparations like aerosol-like preparation, we go for a different method. So here we'll discuss that acute toxic testing for inhalation. So it is this is particularly performed for aerosol-like preparations. Here rats are the most preferred animal species. Then what we have to do is the particular animal, they have to be brought to the lab, and the animal has to be acclimatized, means the animal has to get accustomed to the laboratory conditions. For example, the laboratory condition will be the temperature would be around 22 degrees Celsius plus or minus 2 degrees Celsius. That will be the temperature condition. Then the airflow will be like 12 to 15 air changes per hour with adequate oxygen, 19% per hour. So the lab animal, whichever animal we are going to do the particular test. For example, in case of inhalation studies and all, rats are the preferred animals. So the rats has to be brought to the laboratory, and the particular animal has to get accustomed to the laboratory conditions. So how we have to maintain the laboratory condition? The temperature has to be between 22 degrees Celsius plus or minus 2 degrees Celsius. Then the airflow should be 12 to 15 air changes per hour with adequate quantity of oxygen. Then the animal will be exposed to the test substance for around 4 hours. So after we ensure that the animal is accustomed to the or acclimatized to the laboratory condition, we'll expose the animal to the particular preparation for around 4 hours. Then the animal will be monitored for 14 days. So during this period, food will be withheld and the water will be withheld. So when the animal is getting exposed to the particular preparation, the animal will not be given any food. Even sometimes water also will be withheld. So this is acute toxicity testing for inhalation. So here also, since it is an acute toxicity testing, it will be monitored for 14 days. So always remember, acute toxicity testing, the observation period is 14 days. So once after, like during this observation period, during this 14-day period, we'll observe the animal for the presence of any tremor or convulsion, salivation, diarrhea, lethargy, the sleep pattern, or if the animal is going into coma. All these will be observed. So during the observation period, these parameters will be observed, like whether the animal is having any tremor, convulsion, salivation, diarrhea, lethargy, sleep, and coma. Then mortality during the exposure and observation period also will be noted. And the ones like after the 14 days period, the animal will be sacrificed, and the pathological changes will be evaluated. So this is acute testing for inhalation. So this is especially useful in preparation, aerosol-like preparation. So here the rat is the most preferred animal, and the rat has to be brought to the laboratory in like it will be brought to the laboratory, and the animal has to get acclimatized or accustomed to the lab conditions. So the lab conditions are the temperature has to be between 22 plus or minus 2 degree. Then airflow change 12 to 15 air changes with adequate amount of oxygen, 19%. Then once we find that the animal is accustomed, then we have to expose the animal to the preparation. And this is done for 4 hours. And during this period of 4 hours, the animal will not be given any food, and even sometimes water also will be withheld. Then the animal will be monitored for around 14 days. Then what all things are observed during this 14 days? Tremor, convulsion, salivation, diarrhea, lethargy, sleep, and coma. Then mortality rate is also observed. Then at the end of the 14th day, the animal will be sacrificed, and the histological as well as the pathological changes are studied. Next is acute toxicity testing for topical preparation. So this acute toxicity testing for topical preparation, this was identified, or this particular method is developed by a scientist called as John Drace. So this is a scientist from US developed this particular method. John Drace developed this method for topical preparation. So it is when this particular method is done in eyes, it is called as the Drace eye irritancy test. The Drace eye irritancy test, and here mainly rabbits and guinea pigs are used. So this particular test, Drace eye irritancy test, is done on rabbits and guinea pigs. So in this particular test, 0.5 ml of the test substance will be administered into the animal's eye. So 0.5 ml of the substance, the new chemical entity, will be administered to the animal's eye. Then the animal will be restrained for 4 hours. So the animal will be in our control for around 4 hours. Then what all things we'll observe? We have to observe for redness, swelling, discharge, ulceration, hemorrhage, and blindness. All these are assessed and again monitored for 14 days. So this is Drace eye irritancy test. So this is particularly used in like preferably rabbits. The animals preferred are rabbits and guinea pigs. So what they do is they'll apply 0.5 ml of test substance into the animal's eye. Then the animal again will be restrained for 4 hours. Then it will be observed for redness, swelling, discharge, ulceration, hemorrhage, and blindness, and it will be assessed and monitored for around 14 days. So that is Drace eye irritancy test. Then similarly we have Drace skin irritancy test. So here 0.5 gram of the test substance will be applied to the surface of animal's skin. So here it is called as Drace skin irritancy test. We are checking whether the particular test substance that we are going to use is going to cause any skin problems or eye problems. So we are trying it on animals first. So here we are giving 0.5 gram of a test substance will be applied to the surface of the animal's skin. Then the animal will be observed for 14 days. So what all things will be observed? Erythema, redness or edema, any swelling will be assessed. Then once the study is end, like once the end of the like 14 days are over, then the animal will be sacrificed and pathological changes are evaluated. Similarly, for eye retency test also, both in both tests, after 14 days, the animal will be sacrificed and pathological changes are evaluated. This is Draize skin retency test. So this is developed by a US scientist named John Draize to study the topical effect of the preparations, especially for especially the eye preparations and ointments, etc. Then some other skin sensitization tests are also there. So one is Draize test. Similarly, you have some other examples. Just studying name is only required. We don't have to study all the procedures. These are some other examples of skin sensitization tests that are used in animals. The preclinical skin sensitization test. Then we have repeated dose toxicity testing. So first we were studying about acute toxicity testing. So acute toxicity testing we studied like acute toxicity testing was mainly for determination of LD50. Then we studied again around 3 procedures, 3 methods. Then acute toxicity for inhalation and acute toxicity for topical preparation. So all those studies were for 14 days. Next we will see repeated dose toxicity testing. So in repeated dose toxicity testing, we have to remember it is carried out for around 28 days. Repeated dose toxicity testing are carried out for 28 days. So here, especially the test substance will be given through oral route, or even sometimes if oral route is not convenient, then parenteral route can be used. Then usually rodent will be used of any gender. Then age should be between 5 to 6 weeks. Then here not just a single animal is selected. A few animals are selected and it should be a rodent and the age should be between 5 to 6 weeks. Then when we select few animals, we have to keep in mind that the individual variation between the animals should be less. So here the weight variation allowed is plus or minus 20%. So the allowable weight variation is around plus or
அவன் போயிருவான். அவன் டோல்கேட்டுக்குள்ளேயே அந்த கார் டிராபிக்லயே
please mute.
டிராபிக்லயே பூந்து போயிடுவான். அவன் எத்தனை டைம் சென்னை போயிட்டு வந்துட்டான். அவன் தான் ஓட்டுவான் சென்னைக்கு.
Navindran. So repeated dose toxicity testing. So it has to be done for a minimum of 28 days. So it can be done for both preparations that can be used orally or parenterally, and the animal should be preferably it should be a rodent of any gender, and the age should be between 5 to 6 weeks. And we have to remember that the individual variation between weight variation should be plus or minus 20%, not beyond that. And sometimes a satellite group, another group may also be included in the study protocol, and this will be having both a control and a high dose group. So Here, the animal, once the particular dose is given, the animal will be observed for 28 days. Then here, behavioral and biochemical parameters of the animal will be recorded. So initially, the baseline characteristics will be recorded, and after giving the dose, the animal will be observed for around 28 days, and periodically the biochemical and behavioral parameters, behavioral as well as biochemical parameters will be observed, and it will be compared to the baseline, whatever was recorded before initiating the study, that will be compared, so that the percentage changes can be recognized. So that is repeated dose toxicity testing. So it is done, how it is different from the acute toxicity testing. This particular repeated dose toxicity testing is done for 28 days. So here the dose will be given to oral or parenteral route every day, and the animal will be observed for 28 days. That is the difference. So the preferable animal is rodent, and age will be 5 to 6 weeks. Then we have to remember that the weight variation should not be more. It is limited to plus or minus 20%, and sometimes a satellite group is also simultaneously included in the study along with the animal that we are initially included. So and in satellite group, sometimes a high dose and high dose will be given in the particular satellite group. So we are recording the baseline parameters, and again while we are giving the dose daily, we are recording also afterwards also all the results, so that the changes, whatever changes happened, can be, the percentage changes from the baseline can be identified. Next is subchronic oral toxicity testing. So what we just discussed is repeated dose toxicity testing, which is done for 28 days. Next is subchronic oral toxicity testing. So this is the test substance here will be administered for around 90 days. So here both rodents and non-rodents are used in subchronic toxicity studies, and the test substance again will be administered for 90 days, 90. Then here the weekly body weight variation, then biochemical, cardiovascular parameter changes, behavioral changes, all these will be observed for 90 days. Then after the end of the study, the animal will be sacrificed. Then here also the individual variation, allowed individual variation is plus or minus 20%. Individual weight variation allowed is plus or minus 20%. 20%. Then similar to the repeated dose toxicity testing, sometimes a satellite group also will be included in the study. So that is subchronic oral toxicity testing. So here the difference is that the animal will be getting the drug for 90 days. So here also the baseline characteristics are marked. Then every weekly body weight variation, every week, what how much the body weight has changed, that will be marked. Then biochemical test will be done every month. So here 90 days means almost 3 months. Then cardiovascular parameter changes and as well as behavioral changes are observed. Then after 90 days, the animal will be sacrificed. Then once the animal is sacrificed, all the organs and tissues will be taken out, and pathological changes are observed. Pathological change as well as the histopathological analysis are done. So this is subchronic oral toxicity testing. So this is the difference is this is done for 90 days. Then next is chronic oral toxicity testing. So chronic oral toxicity testing, here one rodent and one non-rodent species is used. So in case of acute repeated dose toxicity testing, we can only a rodent is preferred. In case of subchronic, non-rodents and rodents are preferred. In chronic also, non-rodent and rodent is preferred. So here the test compound, whatever test compound we are using, it is administered for more than 90 days. then the animal is observed periodically. So here the objective behind the chronic oral toxicity testing is that this provide like long-term effect of the test substance can be identified. So in case of chronic oral toxicity testing, we can identify the long-term effect of the test substance, and this long-term effect can even be extrapolated to the human safety of the test substance. Here also the allowable weight variation is plus or minus 20%, and sometimes a satellite group can also be included with a control group and a high dose group. Then again, the animals will be observed for physiological functions, then behavioral variation, then alteration in biochemical parameters. So during the study period, animal will be observed for physiological functions. Physiological functions means normal body functions, physiological functions, then behavioral variation, then any alteration in the biochemical parameters, all the test lab investigations. So all these will be assessed during the study period, and after the study, that is after it, the study will be for more than 90 days. So once after the study, after the end of the study, again the animal will be sacrificed, then the tissues are collected and the histological analysis is done. So that is chronic oral toxicity testing. Here the difference is that the study or the test compound will be given to the animal for more than 90 days. So in case of repeated dose toxicity testing, the uh, the study is done for around 28 days. Acute toxicity testing 14 days, repeated dose toxicity testing 28 days. Then subchronic the test will be done for 90 days. Then chronic oral toxicity testing, the test will be done for more than 90 days. So here the main intention of doing this chronic oral toxicity testing is it is to find out any long-term effect of a test substance in the animal, and this result can even be extrapolated to the human safety of the test substance. Then the allowable weight variation is less than or equal to plus or minus 20%. And here also satellite group, both control and high dose satellite group can be used. And what all will be observed: physiological function, behavioral variation, and any alteration in biochemical parameters. Then once the study is done, then we sacrifice the animal and the histological analysis will be done. Then there is something called as mutagenicity testing. So in case of mutagenicity testing, what we do is we are identifying whether the substance is whether the test substance is causing any submicroscopic changes in the base sequence of DNA, any mutation, whether the substance is causing any mutation in the DNA, like any chromosomal aberration or any duplication or insertion, inversion, translocation, whether the particular preparation is causing any of these effects. To identify that, we are doing certain tests, and that all the tests will come under this mutagenicity testing. So one example of mutagenicity testing is the Ames test. So in case of Ames test is also one important test that is identified, that is done in almost all substances, because mutagenicity testing is very important, and Ames test is one of the most popular tests that is done to assess the mutagenicity, the potential of a particular preparation to cause any mutation in the DNA sequence, any changes. So that is important test, and we have as an example we have Ames test. So in this particular Ames test, we are using the particular bacteria Salmonella typhimurium. So this particular Salmonella typhimurium, these particular okay, this particular microorganism has got the genes that will encode enzymes to make all the amino acids, to make all the like the organisms require amino acids for their proper functioning. So this particular microorganism has got genes that will encode enzymes, which is which with which it can make all the essential amino acid. This particular microorganism has got genes that will encode enzymes that can be used to make all the essential amino acids. So in this particular test, we uh, we can produce his negative strain. His negative strain means histidine negative strain. So those, or we can produce organisms, Salmonella typhimurium, that cannot make the amino acid histidine. That is called as his negative strain. So his negative strains of Salmonella typhimurium can be produced in the lab. So these are strains that cannot make the amino acid histidine. Then this his negative strains of Salmonella typhimurium will be exposed to our particular or agent, particular preparation, like the particular preparation for which we want to study the effect, mutagenicity effect. So that we are using that preparation, and we are exposing the his negative strain to this preparation. Then then we will measure whether we'll measure the ability of the his negative strain to grow in on agar after exposing to the test agent. So we have a microorganism called as Salmonella typhimurium, and this Salmonella typhimurium, the normal Salmonella typhimurium, has got the genes that will encode for enzymes with which it can make all the essential amino acids for its own growth. So for Ames test, what we do is we are producing his negative strain. His negative strain means the strain of Salmonella typhimurium that cannot make the amino acid, particularly histidine. Then this strain, we are exposing this particular strain of Salmonella typhimurium that cannot make the amino acid histidine. We will expose it to the test agent. Then we will observe its growth. If it is growing, it means that some reverse mutation has happened. So if reverse mutation has happened and if it is growing, it means that our particular test agent can cause reverse mutation in this particular organism. It means that the test agent can cause mutation. So the mutagenicity testing failed for that particular test agent. I hope it's clear. So first we will take a Salmonella. So first we have Salmonella typhimurium. This particular Salmonella typhimurium can has got genes that can encode all the amino acids that are, all the enzymes that can be used to prepare all the essential amino acids. And for the test sake, we are producing his negative strain, or the strain of particular strain of the Salmonella typhimurium that cannot make the amino acid histidine. So this particular strain cannot make the amino acids histidine. So it means that that organism cannot grow because it cannot synthesize the amino acid histidine. So then next what we do is we are exposing the his negative strain to the test agent, and we will see after exposing to the test agent whether the organism is growing. So if after exposing to the test agent, if the organism is growing, it means that reverse mutation has taken place, and this his negative strain after reverse mutation is become to the active normal form. So if this happens, it means that the test agent has caused mutation, reverse mutation in the particular organism, and it failed. So it failed for the mutagenicity test. That is the Ames test. So Ames test is an important test done to know the mutagenicity effect of the particular test agent. So that is with the various toxicological testing. toxicity studies. So we began with acute. All these toxicity test studies are done in animals, and we need animal ethics committee approval for that. Then what we have these particular guidelines. In India, we have to follow these guidelines in order to do study in animals. Then we have the acute toxicity testing. So from acute toxicity testing means it is the effect will be observed for 14 days. Then acute toxicity testing, initially it was done to identify the LD50, lethal dose 50. Lethal dose 50 is the amount of material, if it given all at once, it will result in the death of more than 50%, like around 50% of the animals used in the study. That is lethal dose. Uh, lethal dose. So lethal dose determination is one of the important steps in studies, in preclinical studies. But since it is resulting in a lot of mortality, now other modified methods are there, such as FDP, fixed dose procedure, acute toxic category, and up and down method. And of these, up and down method is being recommended by the regulatory authorities because it is using a single animal. The same increased dose will be utilized in a single animal. So since the mortality rate is less, this is now the preferred test in acute toxicity testing. Then for preparations such as the aerosol-like preparation, we have acute toxicity testing for inhalation. So where rats are used, again, then certain laboratory situation conditions has to be there. The animal has to be accustomed to certain laboratory environment, and the test will be done for 14 days. Then the results will be observed. Then we have acute toxicity testing for topical preparation. So here we have two tests: the eye irritancy test and the skin irritancy test. Eye irritancy test, rabbits, in both tests, rabbits and guinea pigs are used. 0.5 ml in eye or 0.5 gram on skin uh, will be applied, and the animal will be observed for around 4 hours. Sorry, the animal will be exposed for the particular test agent for 4 hours. Then the animal will be observed for 14 days. Then we have other skin sensitization tests also, which are done on animals. So the procedure is not important. You just have to study the names of the different tests. Then we have repeated dose toxicity testing. So the difference here is that we are doing the study for 28 days. So here either orally or parenterally, the drug will be given for 28 days. Again, here for repeated dose toxicity testing, we prefer rodent, and the age should be 5 to 6 weeks, around 5 to 6 weeks, and the weight variation between the animals should be plus or minus 20%, not beyond that. And baseline parameter is initially observed, and for 28 days, the other after obtaining the baseline parameters, the organism will be exposed to the test agent, and the animal will be observed for around 28 days. Then like daily, the other parameters will be obtained, and the percentage changes will be identified. Then we have subchronic oral toxicity testing. So this subchronic is done for 90 days. So here weekly body weight variation, monthly biochemical, cardiovascular parameter changes, behavioral changes all will be observed. Then then again finally the animal will be sacrificed, and baseline as well as the routine parameters are compared for identifying any changes. Then we have chronic oral toxicity testing. So here the test is done for more than 90 days. So the intention behind this particular test is that it will provide the long-term effect of a test substance in animals, and this particular result can be extrapolated to the human safety as well. And here also both way like the weight variation permitted is plus or minus 20%. Then once at the end of the 90 days, more than 90 days, the study will be done. After that, the animal will be sacrificed. Then physiological change functions, behavioral variation, and alteration biochemical parameters will be done. Then we have mutagenicity testing. Mutagenicity testing is done for to know whether the particular test agent is causing any mutation. So, like what all it can cause? Sometimes the test agent can cause a change in the base sequence of DNA, then some chromosomal aberration, structural aberration in the DNA, such as duplication, insertion, inversion, translocation. All these I think we have learned in microbiology. So we are here we are testing whether our test agent is causing any mutation in the particular organism. So we are using microorganisms for this particular test, which is called as Ames test. Ames test is one of the important tests. So here we are using Salmonella typhimurium. So in order to perform the test, we are generating His negative strains, and His negative strains are exposed to the test agent. Then again, after exposing the test agent, we are observing whether the particular organism is growing or not. If growing, it means that mutation has happened. So that is Ames test. So these are the toxicity testing. Next tomorrow we'll go for reproductive testing. So all these are done in animals. All these comes under preclinical testing. So I hope you're clear with today's topic. If you have any doubt, you can contact. Thank you.